Hello! Hi Casey. So this one's gonna have a trigger warning, I think, some suicidal thoughts, some just like bad mental health discussions, which I don't think which I'm like sort of putting in this one because I think it's most relatable with the person I'm going to be talking to. So if you're watching this and you don't want to hear about it, or if like Casey doesn't want to hear about it, there'll be like I think 2 versions of this one. So hi Casey. I think I should preface this one a little bit more. I'll edit it out in the second one. There'll be the exact same video if you watch it from this point on, after I cut out the mental health stuff. But I guess I never was really, I guess I am one of the few people who is very, I don't know, in your life who I feel like was more, out of our friend group, was more cognizant about how to approach your sensitive times. And I guess I should come clear at this point. By my father, who's a doctor, multiple times I've been diagnosed as a manic depressive, otherwise known as bipolar disorder. It's a hard pill to swallow when you have a major mental health issue. That's why I'm very, I don't know, I guess more sensitive to whenever you seem to be struggling. I'm not going to assume what you have or if you have anything, but whenever someone is feeling down, I feel a need at all times to sort of approach it like, hey, is anything wrong? And if the person doesn't want to tell me, I'm not going to pressure them because I do think it's important to respect those boundaries. But I'll always feel the need to say, if there's anything I can do, I know you've heard this multiple times from me, please tell me because I hope that I can make your situation better. And if there's anything you think I can do, whether it be just to listen, I hope you always know that I'll be there to listen. And just listen if that's what you need. If you need advice or input, I'll give it. But I think when dealing with very sensitive issues, when someone is feeling so upset that they might be showing symptoms of certain behaviors, I feel a need that I hope you always know that I genuinely mean that phrase, and I mean it to anyone if you're watching. I guess I'll put this in a general one too. I know some things are difficult for you, and I know that we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and that you do think that I am just morally not a good person, and I'm fundamentally not a good person. I know you've said that about me before. And it's okay, I can understand why you think that. I do live a very different lifestyle than many other people. I just hope you understand that someday, and I hope you know that I never really cared that you felt those ways about me, if you knew that I knew at any point. Because at the end of the day, I always knew you were a friend. And that if you ever needed someone, I would be there. And one of my favorite times with you, I would say, is when we went ice skating and we went to Dots and we had that long conversation about different things in life. Because I genuinely do think it's interesting to hear yours and Emily's perspectives, and especially yours, because I think it's very interesting to think that you do want such a different life than me. I never want a family. I would never give up my career for family, but I feel like you are willing to compromise for family. And I sort of it's really hard for me to understand that perspective in life, because I'm so wired on this track of feminism, liberal, blah blah blah, I feel like as a woman, but I don't think that you're not a feminist. I do think you're a feminist in a lot of ways, and I think that your take on it is much more of that Asian cultural way of seeing things, the way my parents see things, the way my grandparents see things, that your family is what's first. And I always respected you for that because I could never do it. I am such a bad Asian daughter. In some ways, I guess, to my grandparents and to my mother, I'm so American. And I think you represent a lot of the values in Asian culture that I was never able to live up to, because I can't imagine as a young person putting family first the way you do, and I always respected that about you. And I think that day at Dots was one of those moments that I realized that there's nothing wrong with living that way. Because I've rejected my culture so much. In a lot of ways, I've rejected that idea of that mindset, that parents are everything. But you really do embody that life. And that idea that parents are, like, the voice and the reason and the things we should listen to. Because I guess I am very westernized and Americanized, more than I like to say. I like to live my life with whatever I like to do and following my heart, even if it disobeys my parents, when I shouldn't necessarily, when you, I feel like, obey your mother a lot more than I ever could obey my own. And I guess the reason why I wanted to really tell you about my issues is because I feel very scared for people, because I know you've alluded to it a couple of times. You haven't explicitly said it, but you've alluded to it. And this is where it gets dark. So please, if you don't want to see it, I'll tell you when to skip. But I remember one day I came to school. It was pretty hot, but I was wearing a long sleeves and I thought I was covering it. I don't know if it was end of junior year or beginning of senior year. I had cut myself. I don't do it often, and I haven't done it in a while. But I did it every few times when I was younger. And you asked me that day at lunch if everything was okay. And I was really grateful for that, even though I didn't tell you what was wrong. I was grateful that you asked me if I was okay, which is why I always hope you know I'll always be there for you. The fact that you asked me that one question, I think, shows a lot. And that's why I always try to make sure that we ask you two things, even though you won't like it. And we know you might not like it. And I always try to ask you if anything's wrong, even though I know you're not going to tell me what's wrong most of the times. That was a very hard day in my life. And I'm really grateful that you asked me that question. I carry it with me a lot that day. It's one of those days that always stay with me. And that's why I always firmly believe I'll make sure no matter what, even if you don't really like me or you're upset with me or whatever at the time being, if you ever have a big major issue that's really bothering you and that you feel like you really do need to talk to someone, especially now that you're going into a world full of strangers, I'm only literally one call away. We're in the same time zone too. If you call me, or if you text me it's an emergency, I'll call you as soon as I can. And I'll try to talk to you, and I'll always be there for you. And I hope you know that, Casey. That even though we're very different fundamentally, and even though I'm fundamentally in a lot of ways wrong in some things that you see, I would always want to make sure that you know, no matter what walks of life we see things differently from, I can always listen and be there to help you, even as the years go by. I would do this for any of my friends, but I know that you have more of a time sometimes just getting sad for unreasonable reasons, and I understand that some days. It happens, and I hope you know that I will always be there to call and talk about it. I'd say that's one of my best memories with you too, even though it's a very dark one. It's one of the days I got hope again that people could care about me, or that there are people who would be concerned. I've had a lot of times where it's been dark, but because of people like you, it's been okay again. And I hope I can be one of those people for you for the rest of your life. I know that you're going to be fine in Penn, and that you're going to keep your strong resolve. And I really hope that you'll always stay open if you need anything. Thanks, Casey. Bye.